Once again, Tucker Brandon. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of I figure with October, with it being spooky season, I might as well do something kind of spooky. So I'm going to wear this like the whole month of October now since this previous upload video. And cover some of the more kind of mysterious topics, like the Enneagram's origin story for today, for example. So, like, there is a lot of nuances with the Enneagram and what people think the Enneagram is like, different typologies they call them. I'm reading from The Enneagram Christian Perspective by Richard Rohr and Andreas Ebert. And I'm going to go over some of the basic stuff I highlighted in the very first couple of pages of the book. So they reference the Enneagram's a very old typology that describes 9 different characters. It shares with many other typologies the crude reduction of human behavior to a limited number of character types. And they reference like Carl Jung, who did the 3 pairs of function. Either you're a extrovert, introvert, you're a sensate or intuitive, or you're thinking and feeling. And they combine it with Myers-Briggs. They did the IMFP, EMJ type stuff. Karen Horney discovered 3 ways people overcome stuff by submission, hostility, or withdrawal. They also are where we get the Hornevian triads from. But everything since Myers-Briggs kind of expanded upon stuff from previous years. And some of them reference astrology as an influence. In the next page it says, until recently, the origins of the Enneagram seemed to be hidden behind a veil. On the one hand, that made the subject especially mysterious. On the other, it nourished speculation and skepticism, and hardly contributed to the credibility of the Enneagram. Some people think it's a pseudoscience. And it's even, almost a detriment to the serious academics or the scholars' evaluation of the Enneagram. Because they're like, I'm an Enneagram. I'm like, it's a pseudoscience. My boss called it a pseudoscience. I don't think it's a pseudoscience, but that's because I'm always steeped in it. And plus, he's an 8. He's going to think that way regardless. That's how some 8s might look at it. So some of these works of the Enneagram trace back to a George Ivanovich Gurdjieff in 1916. They have a comprehensive symbol of the harmonic structure and inner dynamics of the cosmos. And added in from, it says that Gudrjieff learned about it from the Sufis, which I guess were like a Muslim religion back in the Middle Ages. And some people like Oscar Ichazo in the early 1970s developed the quote-unquote Enneagram of Fixations, which used Gurdjieff's model and several other statements and added some cryptic, likewise stuff from hidden Sufi sources, but also his own visions of angels and similar things. And there's some that say the origin of the Enneagrams go back to millennia of the Near East, and the millennia ago. Some say the quote-unquote the Magi, which like the priests, psychologists, theologians, and magicians, astronomers, astrologists. And according to the Gospel of Matthew, it says some of these Magi came to go visit Jesus, which we've heard about in the Gospel story of Jesus' birth, if you listen to it, if you believe in that, And other things speculated how people learn from it from Sufi culture, through Sufi tradition. And they always say that they talked about it very, orally. There wasn't anything written down about it, so it was passed down from, mentor to mentee to pass on further and further. And people were like, okay, what's this got to do with the Enneagram, and why is that mysterious? And is it Christian? It's not Christian then. It's like, well, people say, but some say that its fathers also had some influence of it. The Jesuit Robert Oakes, which is one of the Enneagram disciples of the Claudio Naranjo, which if you ever know of any of his work, he's talked about in the Enneagram circles. It's almost like an Enneagram father. He was convinced that the Enneagram was profoundly rooted in Christian monasticism. tradition, the early fathers, a group of 4th century desert monks who had developed a view of the 7 deadly sins that charge the types with their energy. German Benedictine Anselm Grün also noted that some of the astonishing parallels between the Enneagram teaching of the passions developed by Evergress. So some of the desert fathers, which are like early church authorities, have some like mysticism with the Enneagram in there too, apparently. And it's really debated, and nobody really quite knows what all the Enneagram does, like, and how it's a big part of it. Some say it's esoteric Christian. Some of it goes back to Sufi, Saramun Brotherhood is supposed to happen to come from. The tradition of the Enneagram is based out of, like, a monastery over the Sufis. Yeah. So for a long time, this talks about Gudrjieff. He went to a monastery of the Sufi Saramun Brotherhood. He is supposed to have known the tradition on which the Enneagram is based out of. In all of his life, he called himself a Pythagorean Greek and an esoteric Christian. And a lot of his knowledge about where he got the Enneagrams behind the veil, it's mysterious. It's kind of like, why is he learning about all this stuff? And so the scary thing is, like, even though the Enneagram is not really known, like, where it came from, the scary thing is how almost accurate it can be to somebody if you believe in the Enneagram. And Richard Ward discusses some of his stuff and his introduction to the Enneagram. So in the early 1970s, he introduced to it. He learned about it through his Jesuit director, and he calls it the mode of perception. That's how he describes it. When I put my secret knowledge to work, my interlocutor would think, Richard Ward is reading my soul like an open book and focusing precisely on my problem. Just where did he learn that? And thus, I seemed almost clairvoyant to the person, as if I had the gift of seeing the heart and attributing it to a number of the saints in the church. That is how the Enneagram was supposedly used at first, almost like a guiding light, for example, in somebody's life. It was presumably a type of esoteric knowledge that spiritual guides would pass on only within their groups. The Sufis, in any case, had never put it down in writing, but used it when circumstances required to help others. When we Americans got a hold of it, what had to happen happened. The hidden wisdom was offered for mass consumption. And now you hear about it on YouTube and look at it through Enneagram teachings, like Ennea summits, things like that. The Enneagram does not have the intention of flattering or stroking the emotional, empirical ego. Rather, it aims to support efforts to let go or render unnecessary what Thomas Mattern calls the false self. So, what we wear to face the world in reality, the mask we wear. Like, for me, with my type, the type 4, I wrestle with feeling like I'm worthless, and so I try to mask it by presenting like I'm indifferent and unique, and I want to feel loved and valued. Do I have that already? Yes, but I don't believe that because I'm living with the mask I wear to present to the world around me that I have value of some matter to some degree. Is it true? Yes. Was it true regardless? Yes, it was. The Enneagram brings a focus into the essential truth of our own souls. It does this in a way that most people will have seldom or never experienced. The wisdom of the Enneagram is compelling. And it talks about like kind of how you read yourself. Like the rule of thumb they have is if you don't sense the whole thing as somehow humiliating, you haven't found your number yet. The more humiliating it is, the more you are looking into the matter right into the eye of it. Like, for me, if I told you I wrestle with grief and shame, and like some of my videos I did about my type and how I act, it's a little bit exposing of me, you know. Do I want you to know I wrestle with envy? No! I am not envious. I don't need to know I'm competitive to that degree. I don't need to know I'm emotional and I feel like my life is worthless. And I wrestle with that on a daily basis. No, I don't want you to know that at all. But the Enneagram shows that to you without me saying about it. And that's just kind of scary if you look at yourself. It uncovers the games we find ourselves tangled inside. The battles we fight. The truth of it is, though, even though we find out about ourselves, the conclusion of the Enneagram is this. God will make use of our sins if you follow the Christian teaching. You know, God will make use of my Enneagram number. The realization is once a source of shame and of freedom, like, for it's an experience of unconditional love that we have probably never known it before as. And it can land us on the inner path of our, you know, learning about spirit, like redeeming ourselves. Not like redeeming as in we can't save ourselves. Like a lot of my videos when I talk about like envy and the four, for example, and like some of the patterns I wrestle with, like on my own I can't come out of that. I need something bigger than me. And that's what the Enneagram, you know, when you see how you can look healthily to be more involved with people, to be engrossed in that, to be integrated, you need a little more than just self-help to do that if you want to follow, follow alongside Christian teachings or whatever teachings you believe in. The Enneagram itself is just like a tool. And a lot of people could use it as like, oh, I'm look at me, I'm mystical, I'm wearing a fancy robe, I have this wisdom of the Enneagram, and I'm sharing it to the masses, like all five viewers I have on YouTube, like all the masses around me, you know, yeah. And also, I think last thing I'm gonna say before I like totally go off the rails here is, the Enneagram itself, you know, we can take responsibility for our own darkness and we own it as part of ourselves. If we feel how it's wounded ourselves and others, how it has allowed us to not love and not to be loved, if we can do that, we'll become alert to the other side of us, to our greatest gifts, the actual depth of our gift. Our gift is our sins sublimated and transformed by grace. Like, for my type in particular, the four, like the things I offer the world when I'm healthy is I offer freedom to be authentic to yourself, to be, you know, show that you have value, your feelings matter, and you're worth anything in the world. You're worth it all. When I'm healthy, I give that to the world. I give it to myself, the person. I give it to my friends. I give it to everyone I walk across in the street when I'm healthy. If I'm not healthy, I'm seeking those things out because I feel like I don't have nothing. I'm not worth it. No one cares if I even exist. Why bother even living? Let's just and be done. Like, that's how I can feel when I'm unhealthy because I wrestle with that. Or even type 2 is they wrestle with feeling like they try to give themselves to people. It's what they want when they're unhealthy, but when they're healthy, you know, they give themselves and they can feel like they can be taken care of and provided for and loved like they love others. We're always chasing what we're seeking. And the Enneagram, even though it is a little kind of funky in how you may see it, and it's a little mysterious, a little bit uncertain, no one really knows what it is, or where it came from. It's always been debated and argued with. And the thing of it now is, even though it is a little bit like mystical and nobody quite knows the origin of it, right here it doesn't matter right now with what you have. Like, people can see like, oh, the Enneagram is demonic, or the Enneagram is Christian, like, or the Enneagram is this. Like, I don't take a lot of stock in the history of the Enneagram, because I've seen all the sources and they all reference the same similar things that came from X tradition, Y tradition, Y tradition. You know, I came all the way down from X, Y, and Z. So, if I really believe in, like, the whole, I gotta, I can't follow this at all, like, I gotta stay in my path, like, that's gonna lead me toward the wrong other thing. That's gonna lead me off into, hurting the demons and, like, sacrificing children and all that stuff. Like, no. Like, it's not like some cabal type of deal. It's not that at all. I don't, even if the robes may say differently, it's not that, This is for Halloween. I'm dressing up at work, and I figured I might as well kind of go low-key, not stand out like a sore thumb, but kind of be low-key, kind of be very, much, just living it out. So that's kind of where I'm stemming from all of this. And I realized, like, my robe tight, I have a little bit of a gape, but, like, yeah, I'm gonna be wearing this for like a couple weeks, so you'll probably see this, and it'll probably be the last video I upload entering into November, because I think Halloween's like a Thursday or something, so it'd be kind of like right on that cusp of Halloween. So I'm still gonna do like probably 4 videos out of the whole series of October for like spooky seasons. So this is the first one, kind of the origins of the Enneagram and how mysterious it is. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned more. And once again, be present to life, be true to yourselves, as Tom LaHue would. Well, be present to life, as Tom LaHue says. Be true to yourselves, be true to your emotions. I hope you guys enjoy the weekend coming up. I hope you guys have the weekend coming up after this video uploads, obviously, because I uploaded like a week out. I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. I hope you guys be true and present to life. I hope you guys have meaning and purpose and find love and acceptance in everything you guys do. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the October, all the spooky season stuff. Take care, guys. Goodbye.